Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. And hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier. If you want to catch me talking Texas Rangers on social media, you can find me on Kevin Lee Frazier. That is Frazier. And hey, I've got some good news for you. Your Texas Rangers
on social medias. You just said you can find me on Kevin Lee Frazier. Is that the social media? You gotta. Sorry, I just didn't hear it. If I heard it, there's somebody else that heard it that's going to definitely tell me now. They're going to be loud. So social medias.
You can find me on social medias.
Perfect.
But I do have something important to tell you and everybody else that our Texas Rangers still hold that first place spot in the American League West. The Texas Rangers with the Boys streak is alive 2 seasons in a row now. We've been on a streak to start the season in first place. And man, I'll love to hold it for the rest of the season. If you would like to find us on social medias, TX Rangers, WTB, you can also check us out on TikTok, Texas Rangers with the Boys.
All one word.
You can also find us on our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
And for all of that, guys, I got to tell you guys about my co-host, the 300-pound man. Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. If you want to find us on YouTube, check us out on the CTH network at Chilltown Hoops. You can see our pretty faces and that amazing beard of my co-host, the 300-pound manimal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? Where can they find you on – look at that thing. Where can they find you in that beard on social media?
Well, they find me on social media, Twitter and X or Twitter X, whatever you call it these days, at Manimal Bull, Instagram Manimal300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. So whatever your favorite platform of the socials is, find me on there. We'll start talking about how our days are going, because I guess, no one's going to ask me on the show.
Well, hey, let's
right into social media. Tell me your socials and get off the line. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
There's more than
socials. I'm doing great, by the way.
Good. It's good to hear.
Yeah, things are good. It's we flip that around. I never get to ask you how you're doing. How's Kevin over here at in the studio? I see.
Costa de Kevin. It's things are going good. My little guy was sick for an evening in the forewarning, if you have a weak stomach, fast forward this part, but projectile vomiting, like movie, like
I like how you said like and then you went right into it. You didn't give it a second to go into it.
They didn't hit the fast forward fast enough.
They're just definitely heard the projectile vomiting part.
Yeah, but this is where it gets even more intense. Projectile vomiting, but you know what it sounds like when you pour water, like a ton of water, and you hear that psh sound? Like it was like that. It was like
it was like having a skillet full of frying water.
It was intense.
Lots of
you guys, for all of you guys who know our other co-host, the Little Manimal, he's doing a lot better, and therefore we are sleeping. So
that's the best part. Well, I mean, I'm not worried about your sleep or whatever, but definitely glad to hear that the Little Manimal's doing better. You know what yesterday was at Casa de Manimal?
Oh,
it was BB and Lucky's 10th birthday. So we went to the bakery, Doggy Bakery. I live kind of in the bougie South Lake part of town, Colleyville or whatever, I guess is what it is. And they have a bakery over there that's just for dog treats. Woo! So I don't want people thinking that I'm out there giving my dogs chocolatey, sugary, all of that. So we went to the dog treat, the dog treat bakery. We had frosted happy birthday bones, and so we've had a big day. The back door's been open all day, so they can go in and out without having to ask or anything like that. It's just been We had a little extra food with, so we've been having a big day. We had a big day yesterday around the house for the doggos on reaching the decade mark.
Man, it sounds like a big to do,
We had a good time. Yeah. I mean, hey, I got very, very little going on. So anytime I can come up with a reason to celebrate, I guess we're doing it these days.
Well, you know what else our people can do to celebrate? They could go check out Matt War Pro.
Oh, well, Matt War Pro is funny you say that, because Matt War Pro will be back at the Southside Preservation Hall on May 24th. That's a Friday night. It's the Friday before Memorial Day. So get your Memorial Day weekend started right, bro. And come on out to the Southside Preservation Hall. Matt War Pro back with a big show on what we decided, Slam and Destroy 2. Slam and Destroy 2. Couple of big matches already signed. I've seen some more signed. Hopefully the Manimals match will be coming out soon. We'll see. But as for right now, I mean, just doing my thing, telling everybody about Matt War Pro. Come on out for the wrestling, but you want to stay and have a hot dog from Big Dog's Hot Dogs, or a hamburger from Kelly's Onion Burgers, or do like I like to do and have both. And then get you some ice cream from Starry's Ice Cream when you get back inside. Because, in my opinion, it's the best ice cream in all of DFW. And you know what? May 24th is going to be a big time, and we hope you come on out and support not just Matt War Pro, but the community of Fort Worth and all the big things that they're doing for the south side of Fort Worth, right there in the historic district, kind of the Fairmont and Ryan's Place and a handful of other historic districts right down over there. So come on out. Let's have a good time. Enjoy some wrestling. Enjoy some good food. And let's have a big time with Matt War Pro on Friday, May 24th at the Southside Preservation Hall. Matt, bell time about 8 p.m. You know how pro wrestling shows are. They just do it when it feels right. Well, you got to know. You just know when it feels right. And that's either the people are stirring because you're still waiting on people to come in, or there's a huge crowd there that's ready for you to get it going.
Or maybe your main event got stuck, in San Antonio, bro, and you got to get them. You got to wait till they get through the traffic.
That's why I'm there. I'll just grab that hold for 20 minutes, and we'll just hold on to it until the main event gets there.
Well, we've got some baseball talk for you today. I think we decided the thing we wanted to talk about around the league that's the most interesting is another big draft pick from last season, from that Wyatt Langford, Chase Dollander draft. Paul Skeens getting the greenhorn treatment out there in Pittsburgh, striking out dudes like it's nobody's business in the minor leagues. I'm ready to see this guy get the call.
I feel like his Ks per 9 right now is like 25.
Yeah, give him the stat.
It's something ridiculous. It's not even close. Now, Pittsburgh, they're at a point now where they don't have to sit around and wait for to gain another year of eligibility from him. They'll get next year too. At this point now, on their what do they call that? Their time, sir. It's ridiculous. I mean, you play 1 year with the big league club. You would think that would count towards your service time, but it does not always do that. And a lot of teams take advantage of that. And I don't know if that's what Pittsburgh's doing right now, but I mean, when there's a guy down there throwing 101, 102 almost every pitch, blowing kids away and not having any kind of competition at all, what's he doing down there? I mean, like, that's my biggest question is it's like, what would you rather see right now? Wyatt Langford up with the big club, not really struggling, because I wouldn't say that that's the word that I would use, but he's getting adjusted to playing against guys that have the wickedest curveballs in all of the land, the craziest sliders, cutters that move all over the place, two seamers that come back 15 inches. Or would you like to see him at AAA just roasting on guys that aren't quite big league pitchers? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like I would much rather see him up here. And I think the same thing I would say for Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh. I would much rather see him either being your long relief guy, throwing every fifth day, regardless of the situation, three and a third, 3 2/3 innings, and adding to those strikeout totals. Because if he's striking out 9 minor leaguers in a 3 1/3 innings or whatever, he's going to be striking out 4 or 5 big leaguers, no doubt. And his gas is legit. I mean, the kids down in the minor leagues, they ain't even coming close. It ain't even like they're starting their swing early. I mean, the kid that foul tipped a pitch off last night into the mid. I mean, he like basically started the swing as he was throwing and still was late on it into the glove. So, you know, I mean, I want to see Paul Skeens in the big leagues. For really right now, man, they're kind of coming out of the SEC ready.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest. Like, I think the big story here is not just Paul Skeens, but just how ridiculous Major League Baseball in their like setup is with young players. You know, like it took me almost the whole time we've been recording this show to figure out the way they pay players and their eligibility and why it takes 28 till you're 28 years old in most cases on average to become a free agent for the first time and really get a big paycheck, while these MLB teams are making billions of dollars. Okay, like billions of dollars. Like, think about Ronald Acuna right now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we could just go down the list of players right now who are worth $30 million a year on arbitration years, or, you know, some of them are probably still in their controllable years, believe it or not.
Yeah, Acuna signed a long-term contract early in his arbitration years, and now he's kind of stuck on that. And here he has become like this legendary type player, and he's going to be stuck until 31 or 32 instead of being a free agent at like 27.
Well, and that's the big trick, you know. Like, do you bet like Bobby Witt's going to be in the same spot?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, you kind of like hope that these
Just
guys are
signed the
still in
deal
a spot to get paid again at 31.
Freshly inked that deal, and now he's literally was the number.
He's the best player in the. Yeah, he's
the number
the best
2 pick
player
in
in
all of
baseball.
Tennessee baseball. Like, dude, like it's ridiculous.
I know he's to me he's the best baseball player in all the game right now, and he's what 22, so it's going to be that way for a little while, and he's only going to improve and he's only going to get better. And I wouldn't say that maybe he's the best baseball player in all the land, but he's right up there for sure, top 10, possibly top 5 at 22, playing. And we got to see 162 of it like this too for him to be that, but.
Well, the value, I think, is what we're really like. We could assess his value.
I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you talk about fantasy baseball, and we've been talking about the league and stuff that we've got here on our show. But I mean, when you start looking at keeper leagues and stuff like that, there is no shortstop more valuable than Bobby Witt in a keeper league right now. I mean, if you're trying to have a long term. Maybe last year you would have had Wander Franco kind of on that list, but at this point now, like, I mean, we're talking it's Bobby Witt, and then you got a little ways down before you got that next one in those keeper leagues.
Yeah, so it's a pretty weird situation,
especially with Seager and Liriano kind of entering their middle part of their prime now. And we're, keeping them for the next 5 or 7 years, maybe not in your best interest now. And Bobby Witt is like moved to that top of that list, and rightfully so. And I know this was to talk about who were we talking about again?
Skeens.
Oh yeah, Paul Skeens.
Yeah,
and
yeah. The point was more about
back to Paul Skeens is at this point there's no manipulation unless they're planning on keeping him at AAA the whole season. And if that's the case, that's just sad.
It is sad.
He should be up in the big leagues getting outs right now. I mean, it's not. I mean, again, you go back to when you get some time this afternoon, Kevin. Watch his 8 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings last night, and he might have got a couple of calls. But hey, when you're roasting the corners of the plate at 99, 100, 101, you're asking that a lot out of that umpire to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, because it's coming just as fast for him.
Well, right, and I mean it's on the black 99% of the way there. If it slides off the plate or slides up at the end, you ain't getting that call anymore. It's 102, 103.
Well, let's see. We got anything? I don't think we got anything else around the league. Plus, we've been chatting a little bit, so let's talk Rangers. I guess the first story, Evan Carter. He's officially not a prospect anymore.
No, Evan Carter has maxed out his prospect time. He is now officially off of the Rangers prospect list. I saw that Jonathan Ornelas entered the top 30 on the MLB.com's list, but I've got a much better person that enters our top 40. You're going to want to hang out and check out the show on Sunday on that Down on the Farm show. You're going to want to check that out because we're going to put our 40th prospect on that list, and it's going to be somebody that you don't know a whole lot about. And I'm kind of excited about the idea that we've got some of those guys that are kind of busting out early that we can put on those prospect lists.
Yeah, super pumped about it, man. We with Evan Carter hopping off that list too, it kind of shifts some things around. Really on everybody's list, we all knew it. I mean, it's nothing new. Light Langford is going to be off the list too. I mean, to give it.
Yeah, it's not long now. Bruce Bochy does not care about their rookie eligibility at this point. We're trying to win ball games, and that's what he's trying to do. That's his one and only goal right now with this squad is to put them in positions to win ball games. And right now, Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford both give the Rangers that best opportunity. And the rest of it means very little right now, especially with the Rangers having this really deep farm system, and then that top part of this farm system being so deep with Langford and Carter. And we'll talk about them a little bit later, but even really the resurgence of Jack Leiter, because if he goes through the rest of the minor league season this year and he's as successful as he's been so far and continues to make spot starts and have a little bit of success here and there, he's definitely going to move back up into that upper echelon of prospects, because Callis and those guys have wanted to love him so bad, and it just had everything's kind of went wrong. So when there's a chance to love him again, it's going to happen because it's great for baseball. Did you hear that real quick about Jack Leiter yesterday? He said in his post-game presser that, he made his Rangers debut against the Tigers, and that his uncle made his Tigers debut against the Rangers. So he made his Major League Baseball debut as a Tiger against the Rangers, and then Leiter makes his debut. And with Leiter pitching in a Major League Baseball game today, that means Jack Leiter and his cousin, is it Mark Jr., right? Yeah. And Al Leiter and his brother Mark are the first brothers and first cousins to ever pitch in Major League games. So a lot of cool stuff that went along with that opening day start yesterday. And, I got another thing with the Rangers news that we didn't talk about before the show.
Wait. While we're talking Leiters, we can't leave out the fact that Al Leiter also did not play for Detroit. JK. I don't know why I thought he played for Detroit.
No, it was Mark that played for Detroit.
Mark, okay.
Yeah. So he made his debut against the Rangers to open his career.
I knew there was a Leiter that played in Detroit. All right, carry on.
And then tomorrow, Max Scherzer will pitch to live batters again. Fall's going well. We could see him out on the rehab trail next week. It may even start as low as high A or low A. He might spend a couple of days in the Carolinas. You never know, especially with this weekend with the team being in Atlanta. You send him up from Atlanta to Hickory or wherever. Who knows? Who knows what the case may be? We're also coming home, so you may see him. It just depends on how far he is along in what he considers his spring, right? So we'll see what happens. You may see him in some A games or maybe even Frisco or Round Rock as the team gets closer getting back to home this next coming week.
I mean, how fun would that be? Seeing Max Scherzer pitching in a minor league game.
About as fun as it was probably last week for all those guys that showed up at Frisco and got to see Verlander throw in a Frisco Corpus Christi Hooks game. So, it's not very often that you got a Hall of Famer in a minor league ballpark, and I'm sure you have them there at certain points, right? But when Mike Trout was playing at Frisco, we didn't know he was he wasn't just a Hall of Famer then. Of course, we knew he was above average ball player, but and that's another guy. Well, how about the resurgence of Mike Trout this year?
Man, it's doing my fantasy one of my fantasy baseball teams, doing them right.
Yeah, no, but yeah, you don't know those guys are Hall of Famers whenever they're coming through town when they're 18, 19, 20 years old, and then having a guy like Max Scherzer who's going to, maybe be pitching in Frisco or be pitching somewhere in the Carolinas for one of those rookie or, young ball teams, and a cool experience for all those guys. And I'm sure a really nice dinner spread after the game that they're not used to for sure. Because, that's part of being a major league ball player when you play in the minor leagues is you got to take care of the kiddos while you're down there.
That's awesome.
And one more thing, man, I wanted to ask you if you noticed this. After that second inning yesterday of Leiter's start, did you notice when they panned back to the dugout when he was sitting in the dugout after the inning, who was sitting next to him? It was Max Scherzer and Mike Maddox. Those were the two guys sitting next to him. He comes back out in the third inning, has a really stellar inning after the team had got him back in the lead and gotten him a lead back. So, I think that's such a calming presence in that clubhouse, having Scherzer and DeGrom and guys that are on people's Mount Rushmore of pitchers all time. To be in that dugout and be right there to help them. And then not only that, but it's well documented what kind of teammate Nathan Eovaldi is as well. So
right.
So lots of cool things with the Rangers. we don't have a ton to talk about today, so I thought I'd expand it as much as I could with some fun stuff there.
Well, awesome. Well, hey,
Nate Lowe. Did we talk about Nate Lowe yet?
Well, why don't we do this? Did you know Nate Lowe still no Nate Lowe sighting at the MLB level? We know he hit pretty good down on the farm.
Yes, absolutely. He did hit well last night down on the farm. The bat seems to be coming around. So when he's playing for Round Rock, that means he'd be playing down on the farm, and then I'll just push it back your direction.
Well, if you did not know, we have our exclusive show. It's called Down on the Farm with the Boys. We cover all things Rangers, minor league. And just like my guy told you, we're going to be talking top 40 prospect lists. We're not dropping the list yet, but we're making a few tweaks now that Evan Carter's off the list. So big teaser there. We're also going to tell you a ridiculous story about us on Memorial Day weekend in San Antonio, bro. So
hotel hunting is tough. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen, so it's going to be a good old time, but you don't have to wait until we drop the next show to subscribe, because last week we talked about every level of the minor leagues, what's been going on in the first 2 weeks. Honestly, man, I was so pumped for these games to get started, and they're finally here. We're finally looking at box scores. We're finally seeing these teams. We've got, the star-studded team this year happens to be the Hickory Crawdads. Last year it was the Frisco Rough Riders. So a lot going on, lot to talk about, and we're going to definitely get you up to date with what's been going on. But if you want to get up to date from what's been going on the last 2 weeks, go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or you can go to our Spotify page. It's $1.99 a month. You make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization wide. So go subscribe, get caught up, and then we have some fun stuff for you upcoming this week. Also here on the CTH network, Chilltown Hoops YouTube, you can subscribe to our exclusive content here, and it's a little bit different than it is on our podcast, because you can actually, if you go to the highest tier, that can get you on the show with us for an episode, and we can chat about. You can jump in with us, and you can talk to us about what we're talking about on the show. We may get a few questions, a few hot takes. We might let you get in there and give us the old all one word, like for all we all kinds of shenanigans.
What you tell everybody your Facebook.
You can tell everybody your social media, because we know if you're following our show.
I'm looking at guys like Richeski and TJ and some of those guys. They might be interested in that kind of stuff, because they always got some good hot sports opinions. I love hearing from them about it, and we've got a real good group of people that text and email and direct message and all of that stuff. So, but if you wanna join in on some of that stuff, reach out to us. I'll point you in the right direction to some of the messaging and all of that stuff, and maybe make it a little bit more busy in there for us. So who knows? But man, I have such a blast doing the Down on the Farm show every day. Or every week. This week, we're going to have 10 new players that we're going to really focus on, and how that's going to lead down that rabbit hole of what's happened for the whole squad, basically. But last week, we had a couple of catchers. We had a couple of catchers on that list. We had
we had Cajun on that list.
We had a handful of pitchers, and some guys that you've never heard of. And one of those guys that you probably never heard of would be Brian Magdaleno, right? That's a guy a bunch of people haven't heard about that kid, but we like what he did last week. He had a scoreless week out of the bullpen, so we wanted to get you acclimated with him. And that's what the Down on the Farm show really is just getting you acclimated with these guys and finding out who this next wave of superstars are, so about the next group of Lighters and Tavarises and Carters and Langfords and Durans and Smiths and those guys that have really started helping this ball club in the last 3 years.
Well, let's move on and let's talk about the Rangers take 2 games from Detroit, win the series 3-1. Man, did they need a 3-1 series win on the road? Man, they needed it bad. They got it. Did it in every way humanly possible. I mean, these games against Detroit had everything you could ask for. We had wind blowing in. We had wind blowing out. We had good pitching. We had bad pitching. We had good defense.
Tough luck.
We had bad defense. We had tough luck. We had blue pitch.
Good luck.
We had power. We had we had small ball. I mean, dude, like this series probably, and honestly, man, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to keep my eye on Detroit all year because they're fun. They're a fun team, man.
If they start hitting,
fun series, dude.
If they start hitting, if they can get any kind of real production from Torkelson and Baez and some of those guys that they're playing, the Austin Meadows those guys. Yeah, Baez he had a good day yesterday.
He can hit the fastball.
Yeah, he can. He can hit a high velocity fastball. A handful of them yesterday, and he got himself a couple of doubles, and he hit those balls hard. Those are probably the 2 hardest hit balls of the game, even with the home run balls and all of that. But but they got to get production from him. They've got to get production from Torkelson. They've got to be able to get Riley Green's got to be better. They've got good players and good young players, and the pitching has been pretty good. Maeda has been getting roughed up a little bit, but it's cold up there still. Who knows? As the summer wears on, you might see him get it together a little bit more. But You know, he's not fooling anybody with splitter, fastball splitter. You know, I
Well,
mean, like
why don't we, before we get into Maeda, why don't we talk about did we have another game to talk about? Or we just got yesterday, don't
no,
we?
we just got yesterday. Yeah, we
Oh,
talked
okay,
about
okay,
we
okay.
had a we had a we had
We
a
had a show
show on
yesterday.
Thursday, Kevin.
We did have a show, didn't we?
We had yeah, they won that game. Kirby Yates got the save. We
Oh
talked
yeah, I
about
got
it
all excited
yesterday.
about the Kirby Yates save. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That seems
We got another. Oh, he actually got a win yesterday and a
yeah,
save today.
9-7 Rangers.
Pico got the win today. It was he had an 8-ball stretch right there that looked really awful, and then he had 3 batters that he looked really really good against.
It's very
So I
lethargic.
will never ever for the life of me understand Jose Leclerc. I mean, good golly, all those things that the announcers say on Texas high school football parodies. You know,
Right.
good golly, green giant, something or other, whatever. You just can't quite figure out this guy, right? I mean, like one time out there, he'll be like, I mean, he gave you 2 innings the other night, had 1 base runner the whole time, looked dynamic the whole way, came in there for who was it that got in a little bit of trouble? Urena, right? Urena was really good, but then he gave up a couple of maybe walks in a row, gotten himself into a spot where they needed an out, and they went to Leclerc to get that out. And I mean, he came in and painted the corner on a 3-2 pitch and got him out of that, and then comes back out and really like looks really good against the first batter, and then he throws 8 balls in a row. And then Mike Maddox comes out and he's got, you know, I mean, then he calms down and he makes the pitch that he needs to the next guy, gets a ground ball to third or whatever. And then, you know, Maddox comes out and goes to Yates to get the final 4 outs. But I mean, I would have really liked to have seen like Simeon or, you know, clear the bases there in the top half of the 9th, and it'd be like 11 or 12-7 there, and then be able to go to like Cole Winn for the 9th and not have to tax Yates a ton. But I mean, I never feel like Yates. I mean, that 8th inning was like the closest to playoff baseball it felt like, you know, as far as you know, excitement or whatever. But I never felt like Yates was in any real trouble. He just seems like the type of guy that can just, you know, come in there, and I mean, he's confident in that 4-seamer, and he's got such a good splitter that he can mix them up well enough, and he gets a good amount of run on his 4-seam fastball, and you know, and today, I mean, Urena was really good.
And I have a question. I mean, like thought or a question. Like, is Urena pitching his way into the possibly being like a spot starter, not just long relief guy?
I don't know. I mean, today goes a long ways to that, and you could see. I think they kind of like what they're getting from him in the bullpen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest thing right now is like what's going to happen with Bradford when his 15 days are up. Is he going to be right back into the rotation, or is there going to be that need? I mean, of course, there's going to be the need at certain points, but like we just talked about, we could be somewhere around 2 weeks away from getting Scherzer back, and that would kind of, you know, slow a need down as well. So, you know, it's kind of up to the circumstances and what happens with the team. I mean, now they've got Jack Leiter on the 40-man roster. I thought that he was, you know, there were moments where he was tremendous, and there were moments where he had. You know, he was getting hit around a little bit, and then there were some moments where things could have went a little bit different, and it would have been okay.
Yep.
You know, and he would have gotten through 4 innings and done his job and got them to Urena with a lead, and then maybe, you know, the Rangers wouldn't have been so hesitant to pull Urena after 3 innings and go to Leclerc with a good sized lead. But those things didn't happen. So, you know, I mean, Jack Leiter, his line isn't going to look good, but his stuff looked good.
Oh, his stuff was.
Yeah, I mean, sitting 96, 97, getting whiffs on the fastball. Now it's going to be about cutting those walks down, getting himself into positions where he's, ahead in a lot more counts and not having to throw fastballs in 2-0, 3-1 situations that are getting hit. There were a couple of times where, just good hitting beat good pitching. Riley Green, that triple that he had, there was nothing wrong with that pitch. He just was able to drop the bat head on it and get it out into right center field, caught a nice break on where it hit in the corner, and kind of snowballed a little bit there in the second inning, but he was able to get himself back together, get out of that second inning, and then work himself into the third. Had a really, really nice third inning, and was well on his way to having a nice fourth inning, and kind of the wheels came off. I don't want to say complete defensive breakdown, but there were some things that should have happened different for sure.
Yeah. Definitely some of the stuff that I saw from Leiter, I thought was really, really good. Like, he showed some flashes there. I think with Leiter, even today, we saw the same thing that we've seen from him that he struggled with in the past. And that's just consistency with command. I think I admire that he doesn't mind challenging hitters. He obviously doesn't mind going after guys, and he's got that mindset. But I also think, like, he does get himself in spots where he gets hit hard. I thought, like, the one that hurt me the most, was the Baez one, because it's like, dude, the only thing you don't throw him is a fastball in. That's it. Like,
and it kind of leaked back over the middle of the plate too, it probably would have. I would have preferred to see slider to Baez. I mean, you kind of saw it with Leclerc in that 8th inning at bat or whatever, 7th inning at bat with the runners on, where he was able to get him to roll over to Josh Smith. You kind of saw that same thing where he wasn't going to throw him a fastball, and if he did throw him a fastball, it was going to be in a location that if he hit it, then, hats off to you.
Yeah. But I honestly, like, our big hopes was that he was going to come out and kill it. But I honestly think I would like to see at least one more look at Leiter before they decide to send him down. Obviously, I'm not the coach. One other quick thing before we hop off of pitching and talk about the other craziness that was this game. So Urena, to get through 3 innings, only took him 42 pitches. I mean, these are like really good signs we're starting to see from Urena. If his consistency keeps going, that's going to be awesome. And we only argued about it for like an hour and a half off the show, but it didn't cost him the game. But I thought the Tavares fly ball hurt Leiter's, like, it's his first start, man. Catch the ball, dang it.
But also, I agree that he should have caught that ball. That's as far as I'm going to go on it. I agree that he should have caught that ball.
But at the same time, you don't win this game without Tavares and all the other drama that followed.
Yeah, because he had some. You know what? He had a wild afternoon.
He did.
Sure, because remember his first at bat, he hit that line, like, pop up down the left field line that he didn't even realize was played. Like, he was standing in the batter's box and the guy in left field caught it, and he was still sitting. He just had a kind of a rough day early as far as the game went, and then towards the end of the game, he was kind of the hero. He had the big double in the 8th inning that scored the go-ahead run, and honestly, I felt like it was a little bit of bad luck because, he's in his secondary league, and then Marcus Semien just smashes a ball right at Baez.
Right.
And he, even if he wasn't in his secondary lead and he was standing like 6 or 8 feet from the bag, he was going to have tough time. I mean, it was going to be a play at second base. And he was 14, 16, 18 feet off the bag, started to break on a ground ball, realized where it was in trouble. And then I don't know exactly what Gio Urshela was doing there. I guess he thought he had more separation than he did with Tavares, and then Tavares kind of like duck under, like Urshela threw a clothesline.
The throw was too late. Like, he made the throw too late, and so when he went to go tag him, it was just like he didn't have enough time to, like, catch the ball and make the
and
tag.
then throw the tag down.
Right, he
And
made like
Tavares kind of sidestepped
Yep.
it and got low, and
he got low because remember you can't go out of the path now. You have that new rule this year.
yeah,
So you can't get too far off the base path. So he had to do his limbo thing.
Hey,
So.
and it works out. It ends up being a run. And then the next inning, he has another big single. I want to say it was an RBI single, right in the ninth, that rolled that ninth run across and gave the Rangers a little bit of insurance. And Kirby Yates was, you know, Kirby Yates is great. I like Kirby Yates a whole lot.
Let's keep that guy healthy.
Him Robertson, Leclerc at the back end of the bullpen is a really nice three-headed monster right at the moment. It'll be really nice to get Spores back. I did see that he was throwing, and he's going to throw some live batting practice here in the next couple of days. So if they can get Spores back and get him healthy, definitely like what we've seen from Jacob Latz this year. He's definitely a guy that is going to be able to help this thing, especially until the reinforcements get there, and wouldn't even be shocked if he's still in the bullpen after the reinforcements get there. So yeah, there's a bunch of pieces on this in this bullpen, and now I guess we could talk about the 13 hits, and
Carlos Garcia is putting together. He's definitely not the front runner for the MVP. He's definitely the MVP on the Rangers as of right now, and it got to be in the conversation just by nature of the numbers are there. World Series defending champs, kind of carried the offensively as kind of put the team on his back a little bit. The other guy that I honestly think is just as much in that conversation, not just because of what he does with what he's been doing with the bat, but what he's done with his pitching staff, is Jonah Heim. I mean, he right now is like MVP, like he should be in the conversation. He's probably not, but he should be because he's done so much for this team early on with Young being down, Lowe being down, and all the other things they've dealt with, adversity on both sides of the ball, so to speak, use a football term. What he's done defensively, what he's done, running that pitching staff and catching a ton of games, what he's done with the bat, driving in runs. I mean, just man, there's just not enough you can say about him. And like you said, on the other day, I think he's like all pro. Like tell me a better catcher in the American League right now.
Well, if there are, they're not that much better than him. And when you talk about it, they had a nice bit about it today on the game about him being more vocal behind the plate and him being more of a leader behind the plate with his pitching staff to umpires. That's not exactly the type of person that he is, but at the same time, he definitely knows he needs that for his pitching staff to be successful and all of that. And, doesn't have, qualms asking an umpire, hey, where was that? Why aren't we getting that? Whatever the case may be. But he's also hitting the ball. I mean, he's got 3 home runs, 15 driven in. I mean, the Rangers have Garcia's got 18 driven in. Simeon's got 17. Heim's got 15. I mean, they're driving runs in. And, I know it's such a outdated and, everything has to work out right whenever for you to have RBIs or whatever the critics, But at the end of the day, when you come up there with guys on base and you're driving them in and you got 100 RBIs and 100 runs at the end of the season like Simeon and Garcia did last year.
Riddle me this, Bull. Heim bats in the 7 hole pretty much indefinitely. So, that's not like a RBI spot.
No, and the 1 hole for Simeon, that's not exactly.
So, I'm sorry, man, but, there's a strategy. There's something around, something behind this. I'm sorry, but I just think that whole conversation is ridiculous. I'm not saying there's not some element of it, but
your 2-3 hitters, when you're talking about it, for the most part, are Carter and Simeon, and they've got 6 RBIs and a piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's your 2-3 hole. So those are spots where you should be getting more RBI opportunities, and those guys don't have as many RBIs, where Heim is coming up in RBI situations, and it's because guys like Josh Smith and Ezekiel Duran are getting on base in front of him and giving him an opportunity to drive runs in. And I mean, he had a big home run today down that right field line and got the, when scoring could have been over, he said, nah, let's keep it going.
Yep. Nice double from Wyatt Langford today. Josh Smith continues doing his thing in big spots when it matters. Another walk for Josh Smith. I wonder where he ranks in walks just in baseball right now.
He also got hit by a pitch, too. He didn't look too happy about it. Got hit up in the shoulder. Got his shoulder up in front of his face. He was not happy.
433 clip.
Yeah. Hey, he's getting on base. He's doing the things that, you need him to do. And it's a good thing he is, because right now this thing is really missing Josh Young. And for Josh Smith to be that kind of player that he's been right now has been very, very helpful. All right, go on.
Well, one other thing about Smith is the strikeouts are way down too. He's making a lot more like contact, even like good contact, even when he's not getting hits. He's a little more aggressive, but he's still like the same patient, works the count kind of player. And one other thing too about the Rangers that has started to take surface, just watching them battle inning in and inning out. It's like these guys are really, really composed, especially when you watch them play other teams and you see kind of their overall team approach, and you watch how when they go through the lineup time in and time out. And the Rangers just have a very poised, very composed like approach. Like even when things aren't going well, like no one looks like they get up there and they're in a hurry. Very rarely do you see any of the hitters in this lineup pressing, and you've got some young guys in this lineup, and they come up there, they stay poised, they stay patient. Like a lot of that credit has to go to the management, to the leadership, because not a lot of these guys are different guys than they had from the team, when they lost 90 games.
Agree. And one of those things that you talked about was approach, and that ninth inning is really key on that approach, right? You get that hit from Josh Smith, and Wyatt Langford hit a ball that was hit really well, and Josh Smith took second base on that thing because he knew it was going to be an out right away, and instead of trying to take halfway and wait on it or whatever, tags up, takes second base. They got the Heim strikeout. Now you got 2 outs, and you got a runner on second. And Zeke Duran worked a really good walk. He got in front on the count, didn't go ham on a 3-0 pitch. It wasn't a very good pitch, and decided to, I think that in its own right is a big step for Ezekiel Duran, because he's always been such a free swinging guy. And yeah, he took it 0 for 4 today, but that walk was important because that was a 2-out walk that got them to Tavares. Tavares gets that hit to drive in Josh Smith. It ends up being, that little bit of insurance that you really wanted him to have. There's probably like a different timeline in the world where Marcus Simeon's ball that he hit to right field in the 9th gets up the alley and he goes for 3 bases and has a cycle, but that timeline wasn't here today. But overall, man, I mean, really good for the Rangers bats wise. They needed a breakout game like that, and they definitely needed a breakout game like that whenever Leiter was only able to get them 3 and a couple of thirds, and giving up the 7 runs, 8 hits, 7 runs. And still, I look at that line and I watched him pitch, and I know that there's a lot to this kid. Those first 3 pitches he threw to get that strikeout, that 3rd inning as a whole was really good. The first 2 batters in the 4th inning, I mean, things could have been a lot different for him today, and it could have been a little bit better for him. But he did have a rough 2nd inning. But overall, I was pretty excited about his stuff, and listening to Bochy and Maddox talk about him, it didn't seem like they were just too discouraged by things, because I think they thought the stuff played.
Yep, I agree. Well, we got a big series coming up. Last 3 games of this massive 17 games in a row stretch on the road now, going to Atlanta. So I think we changed time zones here, and Rangers go ahead an hour and this is going to be on Apple TV. If you haven't got to catch a game on Apple Plus, these games are great. I went and watched I watched 5-10 minutes of a USFL game the other day, it was on, and I just thought I'd check it out, or UFL or US. You know what I'm talking about? United Football League.
Yeah, the
And bro,
UFL.
like the complete opposite of Apple. Like at the bottom, there was one big giant ticker here, another ticker here, a big thing up here, and like you had football like right here.
And
This is like national broadcast television.
I get, and I like Apple. And one good thing, another thing this weekend, the Rangers will be playing 3 games on national television. They'll have the Apple broadcast on Friday night. On Saturday, you'll have an MLB out of market showing, and then Sunday night they're the 6:00 ESPN game. So all national television this week for the Texas Rangers. On Friday, they're going to send Andrew Heaney to the Hill against Chris Sale. So our first look at Chris Sale in quite a while. On Saturday, Nady Eovaldi is going to go for the Rangers, and the Braves are going to counter with Charlie Morton. And on Sunday night, the Rangers are going to send Michael Lorenzen to the Hill for his second outing with the team. And the Braves are going to counter with Darius Vines, a young guy out of Oxnard, California, former 7th-round pick from Cal State Bakersfield. So a little bit of success early in the season for him through one start. And now he has to deal with the world champion Texas Rangers on a Sunday night in prime time. And, we'll see what happens. But the Rangers heading to Truist Field in Atlanta, and a good ballpark to – you know what? I won't say it. It's a great ballpark. Looking forward to seeing it and getting a chance to watch the Braves in that giant offense they have, and see what the Rangers pitching can do against it. Because so far the starting pitching's been pretty good. Yesterday the bullpen was really good, and we're starting to see some plus stuff out of the Rangers pitching staff in that bullpen. So. Let's see what happens in Atlanta, and we get, Chris Sale, Charlie Morton, both guys that I like to watch pitch and can really spin it.
Yep. Going to be a lot of fun. Really glad to get another Apple Plus ball game, just because it gives a whole different feel. Big time recommendation for that. Also too, Rangers, on national TV over the weekend. We want the best for them, but man, guys, listen. Whatever happens in this series, like if we get one game out of this series, I consider it a win for this crazy 17-game set. Look, no panicking allowed, regardless of how it goes on national TV over the weekend. Rangers are going to get a day off finally. Then they're going to come home, and they're going to get some home games, get some home cooking. We owe these guys a home, like a hero's welcome when they come home at the ballpark for the 17 games they put out there. They put blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, literally everybody played. They're bringing guys up from the minors. Like regardless of what goes down in this series, if they take 2 or 3 from the Braves, you're not going to be able to stand me on Monday.
One win will get them a 5-5 road trip on this thing. 2 wins will get them a winning road trip. It's I wouldn't say critical to win a couple of games, but it would be really nice to get one, split this 10-game roadie and get back home. And you're going to see good pitching from the Mariners when they get home, but we'll talk about that next week.
A lot of fun. Really excited, man. Tonight was a blast. Thank you, my co-host, for another fun week of baseball. Thanks to all of our listeners and viewers for putting up with us all week long. It has been a fun week of baseball. This has been a fun 17 days because we didn't have a day off either of Ranger baseball. We've been catching every bit of baseball that we can. We got afternoon games, we got night games, we got all national games over the weekend. So what a time to be a Ranger fan. Soak it up, man. It is
3 matinees.
3 matinees, man.
That was great, man. I loved it. Everybody. You wake up with something to look forward to in a couple of hours. It's great. Yep.
So again, thanks to you, Manimal, for a blast and a fun week of baseball. Thanks to all of our listeners. Thanks to our farmhands who subscribe to our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys. If you want to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. We're doing the old TikTok thing at Texas Rangers with the boys.
Oh, yeah, just one word.
That thing. You can also catch us at all one word, Texas Rangers with the boys.com for our website. Yes, that where you can subscribe to our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys. We cover all things Rangers, minor league. Thank you to our viewers on the CTH network, Chilltown at Chilltown Hoops. Great getting to know you guys. Reach out to us on social media. We're going to do some questions probably midweek next week. We hadn't got to. We'll get a day off, dadgummit, and do some questions because we haven't had a day off to do stuff like that. So looking forward to it. Have a good weekend to everybody. For the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the boys. For the weekend, we are, let me make sure I get this right, we are signing out.